Alright, hello everyone, my name is Shaky Banks, and today I present to you every single emblem set for every single Pokemon optimized. These are the findings of the Pokemon Unite Math Discord. All credit goes to them for putting all these builds together. I merely collated everything and put together in a video format. I'd like to give a big shout out to Evacrom. Seems to be the go-to person, always answers all my questions, always super helpful, and put all these in the Discord. If you guys are curious to check it out, I'll have a link to the Discord later in the description. I also want to give a big shout out to Spriggles. Spriggles put together the first a really handy guide to having all the complete optimized emblems out there. And now that we have a new, what is it, like a new 70 or 80 emblems out, I want to give it a nice update. So if you're watching this, folks, thank you so much. And what I'll be discussing is every single Pokemon. If a specific Pokemon has a different playstyle, I'll also be talking about that Pokemon's potentially different playstyles and emblems. In addition to that, I'll also be talking about any substitutions. So if you have emblems that don't quite work with a set, I will mention some substitutions that you can use in lieu of that. And without any further ado, let's get it right into it. First on the list, number 1. We're going to be talking about Absol. Absol here is going to be going with the standard brawler tank. As we go through all these, you'll start to see that there's quite a few shared emblem pages. The brawler tank one is one of the more common ones here. As you can see, you get a nice 2 blue, 4 white, and then just a really aggressive 6 brown right here, and then 2 purples to round it up. You can also play Absol in a very like crit optimized kind of way if that's more of your play style. You want to play with crit items. I think that's another way to go. Also very good. Very solid builds for Absol. Aegislash is going to be kind of the same thing. He's got the brawler tank thing going on, but at the same time, he can also run crits if you're going to be running Shadow Claw, Razor Claw, Scope Lens. And crit is the set that you want to go with. Moving right along, we have Ninetales. Ninetales is an interesting Pokemon because they have a lot of different things that they can do. Here, this is kind of like the classic cooldown reduction. It's something that we've grown very familiar with for a lot of our special attackers. This is good for if you're running Avalanche and Blizzard. This is a different set that you can use if you can consistently get your blue buff. So you don't have to worry about investing so much in cooldown, and you can start investing in other stats if you can start picking up the blue buff, because in the most recent patch, they buffed the blue buff from Espeon such that when you do get it on this new map, it gives you 20% cooldown reduction. So special attackers like Ninetales, and you'll see others later on in the video, can pick up quite a bit of cooldown just from picking up a Selgor, and they can invest in other stats. Okay, this is where things get interesting. You see, not a lot of Pokemon can take advantage of boosted attack speed because of the way scaling and buckets work in this game. However, one of the very few Pokemon is Alolan Ninetales. Glaceon will be the other one. We'll see that coming up very soon. However, yeah, Ninetales is very good, gets extra attack speed here. This is going to work very well on Dazzling Gleam and Aurora Veil sets. If that's what you like to run, this is the emblem set for you. Okay, moving right along to Azumarill, another brawler tank Pokemon. It's going to max out on HP and still get in there and do damage. Going on down the line here, we have Blastoise. We're going to have 2 variations of Blastoise. The first one is going to be focused on CC or crowd control. If you pick the move Surf and Hydro Pump, you're just going to be just pushing people back all day long. And with that, you want a set like this where you have your moves on maximum cooldown And you have good defense and HP, and at the same time you have your special attack. But this is not our special attack focused Blastoise. This is gonna be the crowd control one. Moving along, you'll see this is our attacker Blastoise. He's gonna be doing Rapid Spin, Hydro Pump. And you can see we have a different distribution of emblems here. We're gonna have quite a bit more health and special attack, but we're not gonna be worrying about our cooldown as much. Blissey here, pretty classic standard. You just want to use your cooldown. Blissey, you know, her special attack is king. Because the more special attack you have, the more you can heal, the more you can dish out damage. So she just wants to throw out moves as much as she can for as much damage as she can, and this is the set for Blissey. Another Brawler tank character we have, just like Azumarill. Buzzswole will be doing the exact same thing using this exact same build. Also, Charizard as well, going to give him quite a bit of heft. With all that heft, he's going to be able to stay in the fight much longer. You'll maybe be able to pop off his Unite and take a couple of Pokemon out with him. While still doing massive amount of damage. Just an absolute solid fighting tank. Okay, now we're going to start pivoting to the hyper offensive types. So you'll start to see like these stage 3 starter evolution Pokemon are going to be more hyper offensive inclined. We're going to have 6 browns, 4 whites, 2 blues, and 2 purples. And that's going to give them a little bit of bulk while letting them stay out there. Just a little bit of sustain. And while letting them stay out there, kite the enemy, and just do so much damage. Alright, now we got Cramorant. We have several Cramorant playstyles here. We have our standard lane Cramorant. This is just what you will expect to see if you're in lane and you want to have high special attack and get your moves up as soon as possible all the time. Cramorant, so good in lane, and this emblem set really emphasizes her ability to do damage. Alright, and this is your blue buff bulk Cramorant. This Cramorant is just going to not worry about cooldown as much because it's constantly going to be taking a Selgore. If you can get this from your teammates because you're the jungle, or if you can steal it consistently, this is a build that you want to run. And then finally, this is blue buff offensive. You're going to start to see a pattern here with a lot of special attackers. They will have a standard build, a bulky blue buff build, and an offensive blue buff build. And bulky is more if you want to be able to tank some hits, and offensive is going to be if you're, you know, more higher mobility, you feel like you can snipe out a lot more kills, then you might want to invest a little bit more in offense here. And that's what it is. It's just an offensively rated build. I'll point it out more as we come into more special attackers that share these different builds. Yeah, getting back in here to the Brawler tanks, Crustle, just absolute perfect example of a Brawler tank. Could not ask for more. You can also run crits with Crustle if you're using X-Scissor and Scope Lens. This build will crit for you just a little bit while still giving you quite a bit of sustain. Very nice build. Alright, and getting back into the hyper offensive, just like Cinderace, we are looking at Decidueye. Yeah, he plays on pretty much the same ballpark here. Just really, you know, gain a little bit of bulk here. About 100 HP is not bad, and you get the little bonus from your whites too, and you're just doing so much damage with your brown here. Alright, here's another one of our special attackers. You're going to see this is the standard lane, kind of a standard green and black emblem build. And then just like Cramorant, we're going to have a bulky build. And we're going to have an offensive build for Delphox. And these are all more or less similar and self-explanatory. Depending on whether you feel like you're going to be in the middle of team fights a lot, which you really should not be as Delphox. Or if you feel like you're going to be kiting the opponent a lot more, then you might want to pick bulky or offensive. Maybe you feel like you're not so good at kiting, or the opponent has great chase down, then you might opt in for the bulk. This is this is just a standard hyper offensive emblem set for Dragonite. If you're running Hyper Beam Dragon Dance, this is the way to go. Alright, here's your standard Eldegoss emblem build set. It does what it does what it says on the tin. You always get your greens and your blacks, and you just play a very standard, good, supportive lane. However, if you want to go kill the Goss, this is where the kills start rolling in. Here, what you're gonna do is kill the Goss. Actually, is able to take advantage of the increased attack speed, so you can actually run 7 reds here, and you can just absolutely like Gatling gun people with your basic attacks. So this Eldegoss is going to be more focused on basic attacks. And still gain a little bit of white too, to still give you that extra HP buff. It's very good. Here we are going in with standard lane Espeon, greens and blacks, just like always. And now, if you're confident you can go in and get that blue buff, you can run a more bulky build for Espeon. And yeah, there's no real offensive build recommended here. I think the bulk is just what needs to be done. Getting that blue buff really helps a lot of these emblem spreads. You'll start to notice that you can start investing more in special attack and HP once you start to walk away from committing so hard to black. Moving on to Garchomp, he's just a standard brawler tank. We're going to give him a ton of HP with that 6 whites. And some damage, 4 browns, and of course some good old defense with 2 blues and 2 purples. Like I was saying, you're going to see this emblem set in particular come up a lot. I think for most physical attackers, they're just going to be running brawler tank. Outside of your 3-stage evolution starter Pokemon, Greninja, Decidueye, Cinderace, most of it is going to be a brawler tank emblem build. Here we are standard with Gardevoir. We're going to have 3 sets with Gardevoir. The first one, standard, green and black. You get your cooldown, you get your big hits. We laugh, we sing, we kiss, we smooch, we go home. It's good. Moving on, you get your blue buff bulk. You're the jungle, you get your blue buffs. You get to be bulky, it's good, huh? And then, hey, you're doing big range damage with blue buff offensive. The jungle comes in. It's absolutely laying into people. The thing about this build is you have to be really good at kiting. You got to make sure no one catches you because you don't have that much bulk. You got a little bit, but not as much as if you went with this set where you would have quite a bit more bulk. You can see the difference is actually kind of staggering. 250 HP versus 100 with only 2 whites. But you do trade that for raw power. So, you know, for anyone playing special attackers watching this video, I would, you know, really do some soul searching, figure out like how much do I get caught? How much damage do I want to do? Do I really have like good kiting game? Do I have a great long range game? And when I say kiting, for anyone new to the scene, because for me, I think a lot of people come to Pokemon Unite. Maybe they don't have a League of Legends background. I definitely did not. Kiting means dancing around the opponent just outside of their range, especially for melee fighters. So as Gardevoir, I would be dancing around, I don't know, like a Machamp or something like that. And that's called kiting. Here we go. This is Gengar. He's going to have the same 3 sets. Standard, blue buff bulk if you're a jungle Gengar, or blue buff offensive. It really depends on what you're running and how confident you feel about melting people. If you want to be able to take a hit, you go with the bulk. And if you feel like you just want to go in and absolutely melt people like Gengar does in this current meta, I think a lot of people are going for the more offensive typing because he just one-shots people. It doesn't matter if you're playing Hex or if you're playing Shadow Ball, 3 meter. Gengar just absolutely gets those kills, and he's definitely, if you check out my tier list video, I definitely put him as S tier. He's right up there with Mr. Mime. He is absolutely dominating this meta. He's a great pick. Alright, so this is where things get complicated. This is Glaceon. Glaceon is complicated because of the way her patterns work and the way that she uses the red buff. Essentially, all you need to know is that Muscle Band and the red buff don't work in a linear fashion. It's not like 10 plus 10 equals 20. It's more like buckets. Because what it is it's a stepwise function. So for example, these are all fake numbers. But just so you kind of get the idea. Let's say I have plus 10 attack speed. That will give me 1 extra attack per second. For example, not a real number. Oh, but what if I add an extra 50? So now I have 60 plus attack speed. You will still have the same amount of attacks per second. So all that is to say that there are buckets and there are limit breaks within those buckets. So for example, in the idea of 1 extra attack per second, the whole bucket is, for example, between 10 and 100. So to get it to the next bucket where you get 2 attacks per second, you would have to have like 110 attack speed. So this is why you don't see people recommending this. Math is very obscure. It's something you just have to test, and lucky for us, people at the math court have done that testing for us, and these are their recommendations. I'm not going to get into the specifics of what, but just trust me when I say these are the numbers, this is what you should use. So we're going to have 3 different cycles for Icicle Spear Ice Shard. Those cycles are going to start at level 6, level 7, level 8. This is our level 6 build. It runs 5 red and a Muscle Band. And you get your Icicle Shard, Icicle Sphere cycle starting in level 6 very early. Very good early game. Level 7, you get to invest in your stats a little bit more. You don't have to worry about red, you just run a Muscle Band. So you can start to see where the pros and cons are here. You get your cycle earlier, or you get more stats. And then the final one here doesn't even use a Muscle Band. It is absolutely imperative that you do not use a Muscle Band for this level 8 cycle. You get your 3 reds, and you get your cycle level 8. Don't use a Muscle Band. It's like playing with only 2 items if you do use it. Pick up another, go out, pick up something nice for yourself, You'll get something a lot better, I guarantee it, if you use any other 3rd item here. But you do get your cycle level 8, so that's the price you pay. You say, hey, maybe I want to run Shell Bell or something, maybe I want to run Wise Glasses, whatever floats your boat. You will hit your cycle at level 8, but I guess that's up to you and where you plan to be in the game by the time you hit level 8. Okay, and moving on from this, we are switching to Icy Wind Freeze Dry sets. So if you decide to play this, you have 3 different options depending on your relationship to the blue buff. So if you can't get the blue buff a lot, you're gonna want to run this set of emblems with these items. So Energy Amp and Shell Bell are going to help you get back your moves faster so you can keep the Icy Wind Freeze Dry cycle running. However, if you can get the blue buff because you're the jungler or it's donated to you by the other team from their jungle, you can go ahead and run Icy Wind and Freeze Dry. You don't have to worry about your items too much. This is the emblem build you'll be using if you want to be bulky, and if you want to be a little bit more offensive, you want to go in there and absolutely tear up people while you're just dancing around them with your Icy Wind. This is the build that you will be running, and that's everything you have to know about Glaceon. It's a lot of builds, I know, but it's all here for reference. Please enjoy it. Alright, now moving on to some of the simpler things in life. Here's another brawler tank. 6 white HP Greedent. What more can I say? He's just the classic lovable squirrel himself. He's got 4 browns for attack and does damage and is annoying. But if you want to be a little bit more annoying, you can play this invade set. So what he's got are 7 yellow emblems. You don't really see these come up a lot, but what they do is they increase your speed, movement speed, when you're outside of battle. I think it's 12% if you get all 7 of them, which is a lot. And then you just fill it up with some HP. Zapdos is conveniently there. He's both white and yellow. Very good stuff. Yeah, I think that's all we got to say for Greedent. He can be very annoying. He can steal some early jungle, make a big play. Very good Pokemon, especially in this meta with this new map where early scoring is so huge because you no longer have Zapdos in the last 2 minutes of the fight to like determine everything. Things are more up in the air now, and it's good to get those early scores in, and invading with Greedent can be a strong way to do one of those. Here we go, classic hyper offensive set. Coming up from Greninja. 6 browns to give you that maximum attack potential, and a little bit of sustain with the white, blue, and purples. Alright, we have Hoopa. We have 2 different kinds of Hoopa sets depending on what you want to run. If you want to run Trick, this is going to be the emblem set for you. However, if you decide to go with Hyperspace Hole, you're going to be going with a little bit more cooldown and a little bit more bulk, because you will be playing more of a supporter role than a attacking role. Alright, here we go. Lucario, hyper offensive. Just like Greninja, he wants to get in there and do damage. He's got a little bit of sustain on him too. Brawler tank. Machamp, on the other hand, very good HP. That's going to be exacerbated by 6 whites on there just to give you that much more sustain and let you do that much more damage. However, if you do want to play with some cheesy crits, some mean old cheesy crits, you can get in there. This will be a submission cross chop build where you can get in there and use your scope lens and just use your razor claw, do absolute critty damage. Here's another brawler tank, 6 whites, 4 browns as per usual. Mamoswine makes excellent use out of it. Just living for days. I've been seeing a lot of Mamoswine recently on the new map, and he's just so good. Like, he's just out there all day, every day, swinging. Alright, and here we go. We got Mew. Mew's got the 3 special attack standard builds, the standard green and black. Use your moves loud and proud and get them back right away. Also blue buff. Don't invest as much in black. Get some whites. So long as you are farming that blue buff every minute from your jungle or the opponent's jungle, and you got some bulk on here. If you feel like your team doesn't have a defender and you want to be running a lot of surf, this tankiness might help you a little bit more. Or if you feel like you're the kind of Mew that likes to run a lot of Solar Beam Reflect, this might be more for you. This is just a much higher damage build, especially if you feel like you can safely snipe people from across the map with Solar Beam. This might be the way to go. Alright, Mr. Mike. He's kind of a special guy. He's got his own unique tanky emblem set. It's right here. You get a little special attack, but really we're hard investing in the 6 whites here. We have 2 blacks, but it's almost incidental. We don't really make great use of it here. Most of what is going on here is just giving him flat special attack and flat HP, and it just helps to propel him even further into a match where he is already such a menace to society. This guy, Mr. Mike, lives in a society. I'll leave it at that. Alright, here we go. We got Pikachu standard. This is gonna be just like any other special attacker. We're gonna have our standard Pikachu, green and black. Get those attacks out loud and proud and get them back soon. Bring home our boy. And then we're also going to have a blue buff bulk build. Say that 5 times fast. So if you know that you can just get the blue buff a lot, I doubt your team is going to let you jungle, but maybe you steal it from the enemy team a lot. you don't have to put that much into your blacks, and you can just be bulky. Be bulky. That's good. We're not going to have a streamlined, sleek, hyper offensive special attack build for Pikachu here. It's just the standard and the blue buff bulk. Alright, now we got Slowbro. There's two ways to play him. There's the attacker version. If you're running Scald, you'll be using this emblem set. And if you decide you want something a little bit more tanky, a little bit more defensive with some crowd control, Surf, Telekinesis, all things of that ilk, this is the emblem build that you will be running. 5 blacks. 3 navy? This covers everything. Look at this. Look at all this little bit of green emblems in my life. Little bit of navy on the side. It's so good, and it just gives you all the sustain that you need to really harass the other team as they're trying to like come in for a score or trying to escape a team fight because they're low in health. You can just absolutely pin them down, knock them out with this Slowbro build. Moving on, we got Snorlax here. This is the standard brawler tank, 6 whites, 4 browns. Not a lot to say. It's just good old trusty, reliable Snorman. He gets the job done. He's actually really good in this meta, in my opinion. Probably one of the best defenders right now. He's so good. Like, block just pushes people off base if they have the Rayquaza score shields. If they're trying to get a Regieleki, you just push them out of the way. Start taking hits yourself. Wait until your team comes by. It's just... he's so good right now. In the current meta, I think he's really found his niche, which is weird because he fell off for quite a long time. But yeah, if you're looking to pick up Snorlax, this is the way to go. This is how you optimize your sustain and your blocking prowess. Here we go. We got a standard Sylveon right here. Just, you know, greens, blacks. Get your attacks out, get them back. Then we're going to have blue buff bulk. I actually saw this today. I saw a Sylveon running jungle, and it worked out pretty well. You know, she gets Hyper Voice to level 4, so she's just really strong really early. And with this, you can have Hyper Voice out there all day, be super bulky, and still have like a maxed out attack stat here. Special attack stat. So yeah, really good build in my opinion for Sylveon here. Alright, Talonflame, we're gonna have 2 sets. We're gonna have hyper offensive. This is, you know, the same thing we saw in Cinderace, Greninja, Decidueye, just 6 brown emblems and 4 white, give it a little bit of sustain. The one that I'm interested in, this is the one that actually has carried me. I want to soar like an eagle to the sky. Let my spirit carry me. This is the one that carried my spirit, is the Invade Talonflame. 7 white, 7 yellows, 4 whites, a little bit of sustain, and you just run for days. I don't think Dodrio could catch up with us. We'll see. He'll be out in a couple days, but this is so good. People try to chase me down. I jump around, fly over a rock outcropping, and then by the time they can already, you know, by the time I come back to Earth, I'm already running away with my 7 yellows. It's very good. I think it's super meta right now too. In terms of like Gengar, Mr. Mime, it's right up there with some of the best Pokemon in the game right now. So that's Invasion Talonflame. Trevenant, what can you say? Just like Snorlax. Really solid defender right now, and you're just gonna enhance that, exaggerate this Pokemon's defensive abilities with 6 whites, 4 browns, a little bit of blue, a little bit of purple. And believe it or not, Serena uses the exact same emblem set. She really enjoys the sustain because she can get her Queenly Majesty out, get those big moves, get her shields up, get some healing, and just give her so much more time to harass the enemy, to knock them off, to kill them, and get some big KOs in those team fights. This is really where Serena benefits the most is from this emblem build. Tyranitar, the exact same thing as what I just said with Serena, just giving him more sustain, more time to play Wreck-It Ralph at the tea party. Because that's basically what he does. He just jumps in there with Sand Tomb and hits people with his passive and just melts. And the longer he can do that, the happier a boy he's gonna be. Alright, here we have Venusaur. Venusaur, I think we have the three, classic playstyles. We have our standard black and green with Venusaur. Yep. The Venusaur is interesting because you will run different sets depending on which blue buff emblem build you take. If you decide to go bulky, you can go Petal Dance, get up close and personal with people. Hey, you want to dance? Chase them down. And if you want to be offensive, offend everybody, you go with Solar Beam. The Solar Beam's super good against snipes from a safe distance, and with this set, you're just doing that much damage, that much faster. It's really good if you can get your blue buff. Wigglytuff, this is standard Wigglytuff. This has been a build that was created and optimized by the team at the Math Cord just for Wigglytuff. Makes her feel a little bit special and really plays with her strengths of giving her extra HP. Just flat HP, and then also a percentage of that flat HP as well to really help her stay out there longer. Alright, and then another Brawler tank because of the way Zeraora works, where he gets HP back with his moves. It's good to have a build that helps him live longer and accentuate, or not accentuate, but to synergize with what he does with his moves. So you do want to go with a tankier version as opposed to a hyper offensive version, and this is what is recommended for Zeraora. So now I'm going to talk about some substitutions. If you say, hey, Shaky, all that sounds great, but I don't have a Tauros. It's okay, because not all emblems are the same, but sometimes they rhyme. So there's pretty much sets, and I'll take you through some of the sets here, where if you feel like, oh man, if only I had a Chansey, well, there are Pokemon that are similar to that you might have. So definitely, if you're missing something from your emblem set, check this out. Porygon or Articuno, if your set doesn't need both of them, you can use one over the other. It's gonna be the same for everything here. Oddish can be replaced with Gloom, and vice versa. Gyarados, Tauros, Furo all do similar things. The unfortunate thing is a lot of these sets call for multiples of these Pokemon. Not multiples of each Pokemon, but it requires most of these Pokemon. So maybe you'll have a set where it requires Tauros and Gyarados. So obviously you can't replace them because then you won't get your white stack. But if you do have a set, it says, oh, we only need Tauros, and Gyarados is unlisted, then boom, you can slide that right in there as a replacement. Everything I said just goes the same for Pidgey and Chansey. These are another pair. I want you to think of these as pairs. Kangaskhan, Pidgeot, they are also a pair that can be swapped for one another. Anywhere you see Machamp, that can be swapped with Marowak. Same goes for Machoke and Machop. Some of these emblems have slightly different stat changes, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter too much. It's all about you getting as close of an approximation to the build that you want as soon as you can. Alright, and the final pair here is going to be Pidgeotto and Dragonite. These can also be readily swapped for each other. So I'm going to say that was a lot of fun to do. I enjoy doing these kinds of videos. I plan on doing more of these in the future, of course. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share this with your friends and support me in any way you can. I stream on Twitch. You can expect more Pokemon Unite videos from me coming out on YouTube very soon. Also, in the comments, has anyone found Mew yet? I don't have it yet. I have like 137 Pokemon. I've heard a rumor, however, that once you get all 150, Mew will reveal itself to you. So I don't know if that's true or not, but we'll just have to wait and see. Let me know if anyone has Mew out there, and let me know if you have any questions about any of the builds, or yeah, any comments regarding anything that was discussed in the video. All relevant links and credits will be in the description. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Peace and love.